this basically we'll see the current state, and future potential, as I mentioned. So I was for sure you know that biotechnology is a very broad area. It's a very broad science with different branches, and really currently biotechnology helps us to address more, I would say, more important questions, such as climate change, aging, nutrition, food security, even health. No? With the COVID situation, we saw how many potential from the biotech, and we can have. So in the biotechnology science, we have different applications. They're described by color, so you can see that here. I don't know if it's here, no? Yeah, just okay. And then I can okay. So you can see here the red biotech about health, drug discovery, biomarkers, prevention. We have blue, we have aquaculture, we have greens, that is industrial biotech application with basically chemical industry. We have also applications more, I would say, transversal, like kind of more related to social science. We have food, nutrition, biotech. We have also bioterrorism, because biotechnology also has to address issues with security, safety, and security. We have also technology related to data. So actually, the bioinformatics, all science related to big data management in biotech is with a brown color. No? We have the orange color, and also have like brown color related to the dried areas of so biotechnology related to very specific areas of landscape where we are trying to solve the problems with the climate application. And for sure, that's green biotech that's related to agriculture. How can we really boost their growing of new interesting crops, very related to nutrition composition, and of course, all stuff related to GMO, the genetic modification. This is really related to green biotech. And of course, why biotech? It's environmental. So this is, of course, it's not, I would say, regulatory established branches of biotechnology, but of course they give us a general idea where we can apply different kind of research and development. So what about artificial intelligence? So we have with the I would say last decades with so many new projects, applications, developments, achievements in biotech. We accumulated a lot of data that currently requires technology tools, capabilities, of course, infrastructure to be able to proceed with this data, to analyze and to get insight of what we can get out of that with the maximum accuracy, maximum profitability for sure, and performance. So basically, now we're very dependent on the data storage. So we need this infrastructure. We require infrastructure. We need the ability to advance analytics. And also, of course, we need to be able to share the data. So it's not only to store the data in the particular company or institution, but we also have to be able to share and to apply policy on the data sharing, like transparency, confidential information, if there's some, for example, patients information or some health data. So many questions rise around the application of artificial intelligence in biotechnology. And for sure, artificial intelligence will give us this opportunity to make it more productive, innovative, and to have more discovery opportunity. And also, of course, we will have less time less sources consumed, less time to go to their inside. So basically, this is a major impact of the artificial intelligence. We can reduce reduce the very time-consuming lab test trials. We can reduce the sources spent by, I would say, like people staff dedicated to very time-consuming and source-consuming lab analysis and tests. So all these advantages and use of artificial intelligence will give us for sure competitive advantage as a companies. Because I'm talking here basically from biotechnology industrial perspective. But of course, I think biotechnology is very broad. As you see before, it also includes academia, universities, non-governmental organizations, government organizations. So it's really very broad stakeholder community. So really, when we're talking about what we have currently, so the biggest, I would say, leading biotech companies, mostly pharmaceutical, because of course we saw before this is a picture of different biotech branches, but one of the major biotechnology, for sure, it's a breadth, the help, because we know that the major investment are going to the drug discovery, pharmaceutical companies. So for sure, in the perspective of the market share, the breadth biotechnology is one of the biggest, the more impactful branch of the biotech. So mostly, when we're talking about leading biotech companies, we're talking about pharmaceutical companies and also nutritional companies. But we are ADM, for example, it's a nutritional company, so we are not working with drugs discovery, but we are working with ingredient discovery. So it's a bit different process, but also we have to follow very protocol and standardized approaches of new ingredients discovery. So what we have now, we have journalized research data. We have a lot of research data. I will explain a bit later what we are doing. But we have sequencing data. We have a lot of genome data. We have a lot of microbiome data, metabolome data. So all multi-omics data. It's a huge amount of data that should be perceived, analyzed, and of course curated. So to be able to get really fruitful results out of that. So why we need to do that? So basically, most of the companies I mentioned, we're talking about pharmaceutical companies, to accelerate vaccine development or drug discovery. So it could be not only vaccine, it could be really new drugs or antibiotics or whatever. And of course, we also have to looking for the perspective of their company. The company is interesting. The major, the first objective of the company is the profit. So we need to go. We need to put our product in the market. We need to update our product and to go to the market. So when we use artificial intelligence technologies, we are not only looking for research innovation stage, but we are looking also to the market uptake. So basically, I would say here you have actually the percentage. 86% currently of the artificial intelligence application are going to the last stage in the value chain, to the market uptake. To understand the market trends, consumer, to understand what kind of diseases will appear. For example, will be able to predict what next infections will appear next year? No, now we have COVID, but what will be the next? Are we able to predict by artificial intelligence? Because all these questions and solutions to the problems, the companies are very interested, because based on their predictions of future trends, we'll be able to advance our product development. So if we knew before that COVID will appear, so we had prepared 2 years or 3 years before the vaccine. So this kind of course, now it seems to be very futuristic, very improbable, with high probability. But for sure, the major interest of the companies to go into the last phase or the last stage of their product development. That doesn't mean that we are not interested in research development, for sure. But it's currently the major efforts are going to assure our sales for the company. And so that's why the classification of the market demographics is one of the interesting applications of artificial intelligence. Of course, also, in the case of vaccine development, and also identify exactly the principal active. So what will be the ingredient responsible for functionality of this drug. So this is mostly already, of course, research innovation part. So learning about a lot of big chunk of money going to the that will be able to save. So because it's the additional revenue of savings, because if you can save your sources, so you can reduce your time to the market, you can reduce your because not, you know that maybe here before for the drug discovery before we're talking about 15, 20 years from the drug discovery to the new drug to the market. Now this time already has reduced to 5 years. And we saw with the vaccine that with the COVID vaccine that even could be done in 1 year. So where is the problem? So the problem was actually in the time-consuming stuffs and all these trials, clinical trials that requires for sure a lot of reiteration of the trials. Because sometimes once you have some problems in the clinical trial, you have to repeat it. It will cost 1 year more. So if you can be able to do that, silico with your artificial intelligence program, and to predict the high probability that this drug will work or won't work. So of course you will go directly to with instead of 1 million ingredients, you will go directly with 2, 5, or at least 10 ingredients. So this is actually the huge opportunity for the pharmaceutical market. So what's the main trends? No, we have trends. Currently, we are already doing some actually, but I would say that something there are more future results that we'll see in very few years, because now with the open innovation, with the open collaboration and the federated training of data, we really be able to achieve faster results. No, and it was done with the COVID vaccine that data between different patients were shared between pharmaceutical companies to have more information about the results of different vaccines. So now it wasn't possible when we're talking about 10, 20 years ago. The data was so confidential, was so protected. There's impossible to share with companies. Now with the federated training, it's really one of the possibilities to be able to share data, of course, protected the information, confidential information, but at the same time to be able to have much more data set and to have more precise and accurate results. So this one, actually, the open source. So this is actually the last I said, just global connection. It's so relevant, global connection and open innovation. But also we have another one. So as I mentioned before, from lab to the market. So the companies are interested to go to the market so as soon as possible, for sure. And that's so basically when we're talking about the artificial intelligence application, it's not only for some particular step, we can cover whole value chain. So from the drug discovery, ingredient discovery, to optimize the logistics of the supply of raw materials. Also, we can apply, we can have application particular for the formulation, because in some drugs, it's not only one principal active. We have different components, different ingredients, different small molecules that you don't know how they will be work together. What will be the symbiosis or any kind of rejection between their functionality. So with these applications, you can also have opportunity to make functional blends or functional composition of ingredients and simulation without going to the very time-consuming lab test and also pilot and product development test. And now we have, for sure, open source artificial platforms. So now it's so basically, you know that you already use them. Majority of them are open source, and I will talk later about their AlphaFold, very famous recent tool that it's open source, so everybody can use that. So we really have with the accessibility for I would say we're doing this easier, the way of access data to make it more available to bigger scientific community. So it finally will increase our capability to generate more data in one site. And for sure, one of the biggest trends in the future, we are talking about agriculture. Actually, you have it's one of the major, because we need to relate to the food security, to the nutrition, for sure to be able to supply required food to different countries where there's less accessibility to the food. So the development of the agriculture biotechnology will be one of the biggest issues in the next years. Also related to the GMO, to the genetic modifier, and basically applied for the plants. You know that in Europe it's one of the still hot issues with the GMO, and this is one of the current topic of the biotechnology. We'll be able to use different, for example, CRISPR technology that I would say pretty new technology, and we'll be able to use that to make it more available to food in different areas, geographic areas that are not, I would say, pretty applicable for the food, no? for the agriculture, that kind of dry areas or with the low nutritional content. So really, the artificial intelligence will help us to identify the best crops, to select the best crops, and to also to match with the best crops with the geographic regions. So we can really have more opportunity to have to boost our agriculture. For sure, and drug discovery is one of the, I already mentioned several times. So drug discovery is one of the hot topics, and will continue. And we go to the precision health nutrition. This is one of the very new ones, because the precision concept you heard about in different areas, for sure. It's very difficult to define precision. It's different from the personalized. Yes, for sure. No? Are we able to do this currently? I would say no, because we don't have clear identification which are individuals. So to be precise, we have to have one by one individual. It's not about the groups. It's not about the customization by the groups of population. It's about individuals. So when we're talking about precision, it's still very, I would say, it's not so far already, but still not there. It's still not in the market. And but it's really for sure that it's a current trend. We have to think about that, and how we'll be able to identify, to structure these groups or individuals, and to really be able to match them with the biological, non-biological data, and construct the whole value chain in the health, precision medicine, or in the nutrition, or precision nutrition. So this is actually what I will explain later with the project we already done, and we are very strong working on that. So it's my major area of research and precision nutrition. So in this, of course, global connection and open innovation, for sure. AlphaFold. So for sure, that's one of the major achievements of the year. So it was in July, no? And DeepMind announced that they already achieved the 30 years effort, and they have comprehensive protein roadmap that really practically the same if you're doing the very time-consuming, very source-consuming trials in the laboratory, not identify the structure of the protein. So currently, this is really rocked the community, because it was impossible to think about these achievements even 2 years ago. But now we have this clear success case. Are we able to follow the successful achievement and to construct something similar to other ingredients, to other structures, molecular structures, not only for protein? Are we able to do similar concept in the drug discovery? Because proteins is one part of the drug discovery, but we have also small molecules. We have combinations of molecules. We have interactions between host, microbiome, metabolome. So we have this whole complex system. Are we able to construct something similar that's already done in AlphaFold? So this is a really interesting question, no? But we have done this very important milestone. It's already done, and it's really a great opportunity to continue, no, with development. We have to think about, talking about the health, nutrition. We don't have to forget about questions like privacy, security. This is a really issues, particularly in the case of the health data. So all of the applications of artificial intelligence, they are regulated, strong regulated by Europe and US or different countries. And we have to understand what's the regulatory process, because when we're talking about already some sensible data, personal data, that it's not only related to the science, but also related to the legal issues. No? So, and this aspect in artificial intelligence applied to the health, this is a really relevant aspect we have to take into account and have clear how to use the data, even for research, not only for production system here, but also for the testing system. We have to have very clear regulation and to understand that we are not infringing any data or any illegal question. So it's a broadly overview on the biotechnology application. Now I'm going to particular nutrition, because it's my area of, as I mentioned before, I'm working on personalized nutrition. So what's personalized nutrition? Precision nutrition. It's really a science. So it's from American Nutrition Association. They define that there's a rich and involving body of science in eliminating nutritional impact on our health. So it's really a science. So it's we always think about the food, but we didn't think about nutrition. No? So it's really a complex system with the different parameters and interaction. So when we have these personalized nutrition content, because I'm saying personalized because still we are in this stage. We're not in precision stage. We are personalized stage when we are able actually to define the population by groups, but not by individuals. We're talking about the personalized nutrition. We have like three major components. It's a really science data, personalized science data. It's really about the guidance and therapeutic. So based on this data, how can we really identify the relevant ingredients, composition of ingredients, diets, or even health habits, and after, how can we transfer this information to particular people, through training, through schools, from universities, how the people to learn them, or maybe medical, from health professionals, to give the people this opportunity to understand based on their data, biological, non-biological data, give these guidance. No? So this is a three major components, and of course, when you construct a system, you have to take into account and hold the different components of the system to be able to construct a comprehensive system. So in this case, in my case, I'm working particularly on science and data, where we generated these information about their consumers, about their populations, and also we are working on production ingredients. Actually, IDM is an ingredient company, so we produce ingredients, and we are trying to match which kind of ingredients and composition mix functional blends of them should be applicable to each particular population, based on their data. But of course, we are not doing this like consumer last part, because basically we are not working with the final consumer. So which are components? So that's really huge information when we are generating data. So it's really omics data, multi-omics, genetics, nutrigenomics, microbiome for sure, metabolomics, and all these data with a health status. So people normally that are doing these projects on personalized nutrition, you have a big list of the questions, like interview, that you're asking about your habits, what kind of are you practice sport, or you doing what kind of food you used to eat, and based on this non-biological data and biological data from sessions, you can construct your interactive map of particular, I would say, phenotypes and genotypes of people, and after match them with the relevant ingredients or combination of ingredients that they are missing in their diets, in their current nutrition that they have. So basically, it's a complex system of matching between available ingredients and the combination of them with the deficiency or requirements of particular population. So actually this scheme, no, I have just described. So you have the biological data, you have you can analyze their sampling, you have microbiome, metabolome, by blood, you can have genome the typing, and also you have questionnaire when you analyze what actually the habits of the people, lifestyle, preferences. Very important also geographic preference, because when we're talking about precision nutrition, personalized nutrition, it's all about not only to give the right food, but also the preferable food. So the food should be attractive, should be really just nice. So that's why when we are an ingredients company, that we are not only working on functionality, but also working on acceptability of the food. So what will be the required? What will be the preferences of the consumer based on their maybe some geographic distribution, or maybe regions, or maybe whatever. No, so we have to have all these factors into account. So manually, it's impossible to do. That's why we need to go to the advanced analytics and machine learning technology to be able to match all these parameters of the system. And when we have all data, so what we're doing here is really construct a way to be able to match this data and to create database where we can really identify by population, or in this case we still have population, not individuals, and to be able to recommend them particular ingredients or combination of ingredients. And after that, now already there is some companies doing that that are doing application that you can really, with your results of your biological data and your interview, you can have directly in your recommendation of daily foods, no, or ingredients you have to consume. So basically now with all the applications and our smart devices, we can have this information very in real time. And of course, we can also ask in shop in the required food, or even with the intelligent kitchen. Now we're talking about 3D kitchen, 3D to producing our food, 3D printer. No? So it's really a new technology that enable us to have to be able to supply to the consumers and to consume these particular personalized ingredient or combination of ingredients. Talking about the personalized nutrition, it's really important to describe microbiome, host-microbiome interaction. I don't know if you know about microbiome. What's that? So basically, it's a community of the microorganisms that we have in human being. Also, we have in animals. No? So it's our whole community, whole ecosystem of the microorganisms. So how we know from many years ago that the microorganisms are really relevant. No, they have their role, they have their functions in our body, and they interact with us, and they have, based on their different health status, we can analyze based on the microbiome composition. We can suggest different changes in the health status. So this really, with the last years, I would say, due to the infrastructure development, kind of sequencing technology that was really developed, amazing to us 10 years. Actually, I joined Biopolis almost 13 years ago, and we had the first, I would say, genome sequencer. It was massive genome sequence at that time, 2007. Now it even doesn't exist anymore because technology changed so fast, and we have now a much efficient sequencer with the capability to generate sequencing major data, a lot of much data with a much lower price, because it's really relevant in this industry. Also, very relevant to have this proportional ratio between the data amount you have and of course the price by data. So that's why now we have amazing opportunity to have data across the microbiome, because before it was so expensive. So there are so many stages of the interactions intramicrobiome, intermicrobiome, because in communities, in the special organization of the macroorganisms. So because it's really it's a big data, no? What we have in our microbiome. Of course, local post-microbiome interaction, but not only local, no, by the organs or some tissue, in this case, intestine or skin or brain. We're talking about also systemic post-microbiome interaction. So in all these stages, currently we are doing, we can have this data, no? But it's really, it's a lab testing, so it's really one by one ingredient, one by one interaction, by one sampling. It's very time consuming and takes years, and for sources to get this data by each particular sampling. No? So I will be able to, based on the data we have already, able to simulate this interaction. So this is a major question. So there's a lot of research group working on that, but we don't have commercial applications that we can really simulate the interaction, for example, host-microbiome interaction. It really will be a major discovery, in the microbiome field. We have also, so it's actually the current, what we have currently, so we analyze a sample, so we have a reduced number of time points, so because it's very expensive to analyze microbiome. I mean, it's not so expensive as it was 10 years ago, but still it's expensive. So we cannot analyze every moment some species sample. And are we able to do that without taking samples? No? So I'll be able to predict that by all data we have, and to go through all this data, historical data, and to train our system to have prediction model there we can analyze interaction and with microbiome and host, and to see the impact of the microbiome, particular ingredient, particular food. So this is a major future ideal scenario for our microbiome host interaction process. And the major problem I would say here, because we have a lot of data for sure. We already in Biotechnology said we have almost 50,000 microbiome analyzed, so we have really a big pipeline already done. There's a problem because standardization data, because based on their sequencer use, data could be different, analysis could be different. So, and you have one data, but another company of organization have another data. How can we make it comparable and to make it possible to use all this data to have much more opportunity and more accuracy in the prediction? So this is actually one of the questions now, very I'd say supported in Europe, how to standardize and homogenize the data from microbiome studies, microbiome and also other omics technology. So talking about ingredients discovery. So one of the part of the precise or personalized nutrition is once we have clear this population, they have some deficiency in some food ingredients. How can we deliver these new ingredients that they are required? No? Maybe we have that already in pipeline, but maybe we don't have them. So we have to be able to also to discover new ingredients, new functional ingredients, and also combination of that. So here is a map of the so many interactions between different ingredients and the different foods, plants, sources, and this is already there's a lot of data, public data available on the chemical profiles of each of the ingredients. And there's some matching system already, but of course they are not so perfect. No? So this now the idea is to work through all this data and to create that to have much more precision for the combination of the different ingredients. And the major one of the now there's a boom of the plant-based protein. It's a very interesting topic in the food industry, plant-based protein. So, but still there's a lot of problems now with the product formulations. Basically, we have to secure that test based. We have to be able that there is no any undesirable flavors in their plant-based sources, and they have to have very similar to the meat or milk-based proteins flavors. So have to be able to mix different ingredients to have a similar profile, taste profile, for the consumers. So there's a lot of opportunity for artificial intelligence to take into account all the molecular and chemical analytics of the ingredients, how to mix them to create some particular desirable food. So this is actually the companies doing that, but there's still a lot of gaps. And so one of the interesting questions is small picture, but so basically it's about not only functionality but also smell testing. So how can we analyze the taste of their new ingredient or new formulation of ingredient? How can we predict their let's say perceptual response of the consumers? So that's about artificial nose. Artificial nose, then you are simulating the response of the perception receptors of the consumers on your particular formulation. This is actually a neural network, how they, from the analytical data from the ingredients, they create the different flavors, like tasty, that different characteristics of flavor. And this is really one of the programs that are available publicly, but still there's to be improved for use on a commercial level. And within the big scope of ingredients, we working in IBM. We have one of the our major, I would say, innovative pipeline is about probiotics. So maybe I suppose you've heard about probiotics. It's really functional ingredients that are leaf macronutrients that are in the concrete dose. They can give us very health benefits to the cost to the consumer. So we are really focused in development of functional probiotics. And for us, it's very relevant to have this broad opportunity to screen from different sources. So here you have different sources that could be applied, but for sure that there are much more opportunities for sourcing of probiotics and also prebiotics that are ingredients that help to grow probiotics. And in the whole value chain, there is a lot of data generation from discovery, evaluation, manufacturing, which is currently we don't use any advanced analytics there. It's practically manual process. For sure, the manual process is very accurate because you have it's time consuming but accurate because finally you after the interaction you have only one but very true probiotics, but still it's very I would say long-term period of discovery. Are we able to reduce that to the one click of discovery of new probiotics? So this is a major question. We're trying to do that. So we're trying to understand how can we predict new sources of probiotics, how can we predict their functionality based on their composition or based on their interaction results with the host. So there's so many data we have already, but we don't have clear how to connect that. And this is really now it's in the currently in research, not in the very I would say research stage still, but with a lot of potential. Yeah, the same. So the sources of the probiotics is huge. So we have not only these particular ingredients, but we have also fatty acids with vitamins. So we have different carbohydrates, polyphenol, so many ingredients that influence on the probiotic growth, and that we have to be able to understand how they survive together. If there is any kind of inhibition of the ingredients, or there are some ingredients, for example, polyphenol, if they can inhibit the growth probiotics. So all this information now we are doing manually in the lab test, but of course it will be so interesting to understand how it's possible to simulate. And so basically it was like all overview, and now I'd like to talk about a particular project into next. It's precision nutrition. Yeah, I would say precision, but I mentioned personalized. It's not precision still. It's a comprehensive solution for precision nutrition. So it was a project funded by it's local funded agency. Project was funded in 2019 and finished last year. So it was coordinated by us, by AGM live sequencing. That was we have a coordinator with the other partner is the Montoro Laboratorios. That's a laboratory with for the clinical trials. We have a binary conference. That's a company basically working with the patients, with the elderly people. And yeah, from the Savio, this is the public institutions for research. Basically, in this area, we work nutrition research. And Valencia Basket is the foundation for the basket. That we use for actually participating to supplying samples from the sports. The people with the active in the physical activity. So basically, the idea was to have different populations. Elderly people who have intensive physical activity, who have obesity, with some obesity population, and we are trying to design really based on their functional data, molecular data, and their non-biological data. We're trying to analyze how can we design functional ingredients for particular these populations. So here I have. I will come back later to this part. So this is basically the structure of the project. So that we were collecting data, genomics, nutrigenomics, microbiome data, metabolite data from the blood of this population, and but based on their lifestyle interview we had, we prepared we prepare the particular design the input and probiotics mix for them. They have to consume in order to reduce their deficiency in some particular ingredient. It's very simple scheme. And here I have more details. It's in Spanish. I'm supposed to measure Spanish, but yeah. So that's basically genetic data, microbiome data. So basic analytics coming from blood, from feces, and also from the style of life. They gave us this data that we finally use for matching information. Of course, we don't have in our we don't have specialized, and we have bioinformatician team, but we don't have specialists in advanced analytics. So it was done with a small data set because we have basically, I would say, like 200 people in different populations, in different groups. So it was, of course, not was big data, but we really had more prototype of these applications. So it was actually how it was work. So different solutions based on particular phenotype of the people. And after the finally we developed the application, it's the app where we can have give the consumer the data coming from their analysis, from their microbiome, on their metabolome and genome, and we based on that we can prepare different food recommendations. And through the app, the consumer will able to request different retailers, like I don't know other different the particular food they required, and it was everything doing from the app. No? So it's basically like personalized nutrition application that we still have in the beta version, so we don't have it in the market because it was research innovation project finished this January, but it's really the first prototype of personalized nutrition idea of how it should work using biological, non-biological data, using different retailers, using like technological company as we are, using also, for example, medical advisors or pharmaceutical companies. How can you put all these different actors, different stakeholders, can you put together in the same application and really guarantee these efficient supply chain? Because also here it's supply chain, not only research data, but also supply chain. And so basically, I would like to come back here to our company, because I think I talked about different moments about ADM. So I have a couple of slides just to explain you what we are doing. And so we're based here in the building of Biotechnology in the Pacific Park. I suppose most of you know us, but if somebody don't know, so you're welcome to visit. Now we are a bit restricted with the visits due to the COVID, but normally we have a visit of students and also have different kind of and events. But yeah, it was 2 years ago. Now we hope it will come back to the normality. So we were founded the company in 2003 as a spin-off of CC, and currently, so in 2017, the major milestones were happening in our story because we were acquired by ADM, Daniel Midland, but we still keep this small percentage of the TC. So we still keep 10%, but ADM is the majority, so it's about 90% of the participation of ADM in the consortium. And we are mostly, I would say, focused on research and development. So we are really focused on, we are a research development company with a very focus on new ingredients, probiotics, and mixture of probiotics of other functional ingredients development. So here it's our platform. So we really focus on working with different validation platforms. It's our C. elegans model where we use to get through the in vivo model to say high throughput screen, because we can do a lot of samples in the short time. But of course, it's a high throughput compared to other in vivo models like murine models. But it's not so high throughput compared to artificial intelligence platforms. No? So this is basically our major advancement in the high throughput. But the next step will be how can we translate this data to the in silico simulation. And so we have also strong scientific core in laboratory, molecular biology, and we have as well platforms for scale up of for scaling up of our fermentation process, and also have bigger pilot scale fermenters, total capacity of 9,000 liters. And here our platforms of sequencing. So we have now it's I would say almost 50,000 microbiome analyzed. So we have a lot of data, own data, genome sequencing as well, and we have in-house expertise in bioinformatics. But we don't have experts in the house. We working with experts on artificial intelligence in our multinational company. They are based in the US, but we don't have here. And so basically, we are leader in microbiome, and we have this is as I mentioned, data analyzed. We have clinical trials done and ingredient screening. This is one of the major papers we done in areas of the skin health and also in fertility, and have a lot of fields for that very axis as well. So we have different areas of application, and we're doing whole value chain from the target design, clinical trials, ingredient screening, and biomarkers. So we're also looking for how not only the final effects, but the mechanism of action. Why it's why this ingredient of probiotics it's a functional in the particular population, because we have to identify the biomarker and the whole mechanism of action. And actually here it's interlinked from the research and development and new product development, because sometimes it seems to be that there's a gap between research development and product application. But in our case, we have covering whole value chain. So we have we're doing from scratch from new ingredients development, up to valid. So we also validate them, and also we produce them. So we're covering whole value chain, and we have very clear connection between different data, biological data, bioinformatics, molecular presentation, fermentation data, and final validation on the preclinical and clinical trials, and in order to identify the mode of action. So I think it's so we've all seen that from my side. I'm sorry.